Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Jill Smith with the Jill Smith team. And today I have with me an amazing mortgage guy that our team uses all the time. Just kind of wanted to give everybody an update of what's going on in the mortgage industry. And if you need help with your mortgage, or you're looking to buy a new house, or you're looking to refinance, Doug's going to cover all those topics with us today. So Doug, tell everybody about yourself, how long you've been in the industry, where you're located.
Awesome. Yes, thanks, Joe. My name is Doug. I'm with CMG Financial. I have a team. We're called the Build Wealth Group here at CMG. Been in the business for 25 years. We're located right here in Cypress, right next to the new Costco, and I'm in the office right now. So some of my team is working remote, and then there's a couple of us that are here in the office. But just excited to be able to share with you guys what's going on with mortgages since this COVID-19 started, because there has been some changes, some good things with interest rates, and then a little bit changes, tightening with some of the mortgage programs. So hope to go over those and answer any questions you may have.
Awesome. We look forward to it.
Okay, great. So I'm going to just jump on in and just share a screen with you. I've got just a few page presentation to go over. So let me do that. Give me just a second. And can you see that?
Yep, let me add your screen here. There we go.
All right. So here, this first slide, just the introduction to a mortgage update during this COVID-19 that we're in. And the first thing I wanted to bring up is mortgage relief. So there's a lot of you out there that have mortgages now, or you may know someone that does. And if they're experiencing some difficulty during these times, as a lot of us are, you may have an option to get some relief. So I've got on here, many banks and lenders are offering deferral programs, and I'll explain what that means. It's basically a 90-day deferment of payments. So that means 3 months, and there's a few lenders that I already know that are doing 3 and up to 4 that will allow a deferment. And so you have to apply with your servicer, and it's a forbearance, which means it's not forgiven. They just stop those payments for now if you apply, if you qualify, and they won't report you late. It won't hurt your credit, but one of 2 options will happen after the 90-day period, depending on what you're eligible for. And again, your servicer will let you know what you are eligible for. One is they will ask for all of those payments in that 4th month, or 2, the better option, if you need this option, is to have them add those payments to the end of the loan term. So that interest that you would have paid in these first 3 months is just added to the end of the loan without penalty. But it's real important for you to reach out to your servicer to see what you're eligible for.
And Doug, how do they find out who their servicer is?
Okay, and that's a great question. So your servicer is who you make payments to. So if you pull out your mortgage statement and you're with, let's say, CMG Financial, you may make your payments to Sinlar or Mr. Cooper. Or if you're with Wells Fargo, you may make your payments to Wells Fargo. So whoever you make payments to, that is your servicer, and that is who has the rules on what they will and will not accept. So it's certainly, to me, worth a call to find out what those options are, and just make sure you read through it, because again, if they say you're eligible, but then you have to make all those payments in the 4th month, that may put you at a disadvantage. So certainly reach out and they can answer those questions for you.
Yeah, that's great information. And I want to say too, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in the feed. And at the end of Doug's presentation, we'll be going through any questions that you guys have.
Awesome. This next screen here is talking about mortgage rates. So I know there's a lot of excitement around the mortgage rates right now. We're hearing that rates are at 0%, and I'm here to kind of explain what that means. And so the Fed did cut the Fed rate to 0, but does that mean mortgage rates are 0? And I wish, like you did, that it meant 0, because I would certainly want that rate too, but that's not what it means. that second point here shows a little bit of an explanation. It's the federal benchmark interest rate, and it does impact mortgage rates, but it's the rate that banks can lend money to each other. So to do a mortgage, you've got to be profitable, so you can't be at 0%, and you have to pay for a servicer to collect and service those payments. So mortgage rates, with that said, are at extreme lows. As a matter of fact, the lowest I've ever seen them in my 25 years, but they're not at 0. And I think, Jill, you were asking me like where those rates are and kind of hovering now earlier when we were preparing. And so the 30-year rate is around 3.25 to 3.5. And then a 15 is down to 2 3/4. So that's definitely some of the lowest we've ever seen. And just a few weeks ago, they were a little bit lower, like 0.25%. So they're bumping up, then they're coming down. The market's really volatile right now. So I just wanted to put that out there. If your rate is around 4.5% or higher, you may want to consider refinancing and saving yourself some money. You potentially could.
Good point.
This screen here, the mortgage programs, I wanted to, kind of bring up that there's a lot of changes going on, as you can expect, in the financial world, and in the real estate world. There's changes going on too. And on the mortgage side of that, we're experiencing a lot of change with programs. And for example, you may have one lender that has a ruling regarding a certain type of loan, and let's say FHA, which is a great loan, especially for first-time home buyers. It allows you to put little down, like 3.5% down. But as we're going through this, lenders are starting to tighten their guidelines, and they're deciding, how much business they want to do for FHA, conventional, and there's so many different loan programs. So if you're working with a lender and maybe they've told you or you've heard that their credit score requirement is higher than where you're at, certainly check around. There's more than one option. At CMG, we do have a 580 credit score program for FHA. We've had that since the beginning, and ours has not changed yet. So that's promising news. It's reality, though, that we will start to see tightening among lenders. And just the same would be if you're a veteran. I know, Jill, we just did a loan together for a client who was at a different lender, and that VA score had gone up their minimum to a 680. And we were able to offer it at a 600, and he closed yesterday. So just an example, so you guys know there are loan programs out there. I'm going to go a little bit more detailed into another one in a second, but just to make sure that loans are available. They're just a little bit more restrictive than they were before.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely seeing that.
This slide here is one of the programs I definitely wanted to dive into. It's the down payment assistance program, and these are still eligible. When Jill and I were talking before, there are a lot of lenders not offering them right now, and there's the reason to that is they're just not a big profit for a mortgage company. And right now, a few of them are going to just hold off on doing these while we're going through this uncertain time. And then there's still lenders out there offering them. You can go to one of my favorites is that first one listed, TDHCA, and you can go to their site, and they'll have a list of lenders, and there's several of us that are doing this lending right now, including CMG. So if you are a first-time home buyer, or someone that is a first-time home buyer, you can get down payment assistance even today through some of these uncertain times. And down payment assistance is a great way to be able to help you overcome the biggest obstacle of buying a home today, which is typically the down payment. And there's credit score requirements, there's income limits, and all of that we can share with you, and it's on TDHCA's website. So if you have any questions on that, please queue those up. We can answer those before this is complete. That third bullet point I want to skip to, the home funded. This is truly unique. This is a way to crowdsource for the down payment. So it's kind of like you're getting what were you saying, Jill? What site was that?
Oh, GoFundMe.
Yeah, like a GoFundMe. So if you've ever seen GoFundMe on Facebook or social media and someone's raising money for a medical expense or a wedding or whatever, you can now do that through a specialty mortgage program called Home Funded, exclusively at CMG. So we will allow you to create, and we have a third party that helps you create the account, and then you're able to put that out on your social media, and anyone and everyone contribute to your fund. And then we have matching that we offer at CMG, and with our real estate partners, and the Jill Smith team is one of our exclusive partners on that, we're all able to contribute to your fundraising. So super cool program. I have videos on this, and I have separate flyers on that we can send to anyone that sends Jill their email, and be glad to share that with you.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Refinance Opportunity. We were talking just earlier about interest rates being at historic lows. Truly, for me, doing this for 25 years, I've never seen rates this low. I don't know how much lower they're going to go because they already were lower than they came up. I'm typically a gambler, so I'm always hoping that they're going to go down, but I kind of wish I wouldn't have gambled a few weeks ago when they were 0.25% lower and refinanced myself. So, I'm in this with you guys, watching rates every day, reading the commentary, trying to figure it out, what's going to happen with rates. And it's certainly uncertain what's going to happen with rates, but I do know, and Jill and I spoke about this, that we're starting to see a lot more activity. So this is exciting as it relates to the mortgage market. We're starting to see a lot more people schedule showings. We're seeing new listings go out there, and we just kind of keep a pulse on all that because it all affects the market. So this may be a neat opportunity, a great opportunity to reach out to Jill's team to see what's going on in real estate and real estate prices. But I can tell you that interest rates, while they're low, with what's going on now in the market, and it's starting to surge again, may be a really good opportunity to consider your next home purchase or refinance.
So Doug, before we go on, can you just kind of recap what are you seeing as far as 30-year rates versus 15-year rates right now?
Oh, great. So a 30-year rate is around 3.25 to 3.5. 3.5 is really where we are. 3.25 is where we were. So I say that 3.25, hoping we get back down to that lowest ever. But today around 3.5%. On a 15-year, 2.75. Which, when we had that event not too long ago, Jill, you had a client appreciation event, I was able to lock in a few people from that event at 2.5, and they just recently closed. So, on a refinance, it's a process. It takes about 45 days. So if this is something you may be considering, you may want to kind of start the ball now, at least get those initial estimates to see if it may be worth it, and then plan on closing in about 45 days.
Okay, that's great information. So the refinance rates, are they about the same as purchase rates, or is there a difference?
Yeah, actually, and that's a great question too. Those are the same. So we at CMG have the same rate. I'll tell you, and not anything against Chase. I actually came from Chase and still have accounts with Chase, but like they've raised their rates and credit score requirements for refinances. And I guess it's their way to kind of slow down some of that business. So that brings up another point. If you're with another lender like Chase or Wells Fargo, and those are great companies, and they tell you, okay, we're 90 to 120 days out from being able to close your refinance, just know that there's other sources out there, not just CMG, but maybe who you're working with now or who did your loan originally. Reach out to them and kind of get time frames and closing costs and interest rate quotes. If it was me, I would do that. I would try to get a couple.
Okay, great information.
All right, and this last here, probably my favorite, stay safe, stay positive. I think this is so important today. I think everyone that I know, it seems, is doing the measures of staying safe, but I add stay positive. It's hard to stay positive when you're faced with this uncertainty. So I found that if I create a morning routine for myself, because as you and most everyone probably on this podcast, or not podcast, but on this call, probably is working from home. So when you're working from home, it's a little bit harder, to get that morning routine down. So I encourage that. And then lastly, I have a logo there. It says Darren Daily. And this is a wonderful daily podcast and daily email that you can subscribe to. It's absolutely free. But he gives you a 2 to 5 minute little reality of, hey, here's what's going on today. Here's where we are, and just tries to help you stay focused and keep your positivity going. And for me, I subscribe to that and love to share it. So I hope I can leave you with that.
Awesome. Well, Doug, I want to thank you very much for your time today and for sharing all this great information with the people that are watching. This will be up on our Facebook page for people to go back and rewatch as well. At this time, I don't have any questions, but if anybody has questions, please type them in the chat. I'm going to put Doug's email address real quick in the chat so that you guys have that if you want to reach out to him if you have any questions.
Awesome, Jill. Well, thank you for the invite. Yeah, if anyone has questions for me, shoot an email to me. Be glad to answer it, and see you next time.
Okay, well, thanks, Doug. Everybody stay safe, stay well, and we'll talk to you soon.